I appeared to be getting on a bus. It was a fairly old-looking, typical British double-decker, but the really odd thing about it was that it seemed to be made for right-hand driving. The rear entrance was situated on the wrong side for the UK, so it pulled up in front of me, pointing to the right. Perhaps it was a real side version of the USA or somewhere, but it was of no apparent consequence anyway. Or was it? I seemed to be struggling with a large box or case and an empty wheelchair, trying to get aboard, clinging to both. It must have looked a bit like Laurel and Hardy. I was vaguely aware of an unseen person with me who kindly took command of the box. I was then left struggling to get the wheelchair aboard and stowed in the space under the stairs, but it would not go in. It was just too wide. Then I had what they call nowadays a light bulb moment and realised the thing had kind of hooks on each side which could be snapped back, and then the whole thing could be pushed together, concertina style. Then it easily fitted in the available space. There the dream ended. Thoughts on this. As often in my dreams, the unseen helper was very likely a real universal guide. He or she may have put the idea in my head about how to tackle the job, and either way gave me a helping hand to enable me to progress to the right or the future. Had the bus been pointing to the left, it might have suggested a backward progression. The box and wheelchair suggest I am still struggling with a lot of baggage, but the real guides are always there to help as far as they feel they should.
Well, it's very simple and self-evident, that in the wheelchair, etc. And so we continually get chances as we have a focus with this, as we continue on, we continually get chances to, recognize what we're attached to, what we're creating, etc. So, another opportunity there, but you decide every moment what your life is. And so the box and the wheelchair, etc., we all go through this, and so it's self-evident, but it's okay. You decide how long you want to hang on to these things. It's your decision, but they're just showing you, they're giving you the opportunity that there is something there that will help you, but you're the decider until you can do it all for yourself. So, yes, thank you for sharing, Peter.
I was apparently driving a van, or more accurately attempting to manoeuvre it backwards on a sidewalk, and in the event too close to the wall of a building. I could see neither the van nor, it seems, the wall as I gently brushed the latter, occasioning no visible damage to wall or van. I was now standing in the street when a stern-faced man walked round the corner. We engaged in conversation, none of which I heard or can now remember, but there was no apparent animosity. While we were talking, my attention was diverted by a large spider on the ground. It was about 3 or 4 inches across the leg span, and oddly flimsy and almost wiry looking, but the really odd feature about it was its head. Although in proportion to the body, on closer inspection it looked like a dog's head. It reminded me of the classic film The Fly, when the fly gets caught in the spider's web and cries for help with its miniature version of the scientist's head. Our arachnid, however, was silent and had an almost noble bearing about it. It trundled off and started to climb a wall. The scene changed, and I and somebody else I couldn't see, who appeared to be with me, were in what looked like a large truck-sized van. We were in the back of it, apparently, laying some kind of red-coloured flooring made up of odd, irregular, geometrically shaped panels. I got the impression the van belonged to the man I spoke to earlier. Maybe he had given us a job, or had I damaged the wall, presumably his, more than I thought, and was working the cost of repairs off. At that point I suddenly had a vivid image of a wristwatch, not my own one, but one with Roman numerals and indicating 4 minutes to 6. I immediately woke up, and having to hoist myself up on my elbows to see our illuminated bedroom clock in the dark, saw it said 5:56. Fascinating, as Mr. Spock would have said. Thoughts. It almost goes without saying that at least one of the other figures in this experience on the real side was most likely a real universal guide. The other person inside the big van in the second scene fits the bill to start with. He or she was clearly showing me how to do, or perhaps finish, the flooring job. Perhaps in itself improving and therefore providing acceleration to the way forward. The only other human-like figure was the man who came round the corner and started talking to me. Maybe he too was a guide, or even the same one, giving me instruction of some kind. The only obvious common theme to both scenes as such was the vans. What do vans symbolise? Well, they carry goods, or ideas perhaps. I seemed to be not controlling the first one very well, and in this and the second scene I appeared to have been getting advice of some kind. The second van was quite dark inside, with no windows or even doors apparent, but there seemed to be light enough to see to work by, maybe provided symbolically by the guide. And what of the spider? Anything odd or unusual in a dream, to my mind, instantly suggests great import, else why would it be there? I've recorded before how all animals are very dear to me, even those, or maybe especially those, that other people find unpleasant, if not downright evil. This is as true regarding spiders as anything else, and I love to see them, and even find myself talking to them. They never seem to answer, though. The one in question seemed to have been some kind of Hieronymus Bosch type hybrid, with the extremely efficient mobility and climbing powers brought on by numerous legs, and the evident intelligence and nobility of a Labrador. It seemed to be showing me the way forward and upwards. Maybe it too was a guide in disguise. Wow, these guys, or gals, are really working hard for me. Finally, the weird watch and clock event. There was obviously something significant about the time, to appear so in conjunction on both the real and personal levels, and evidently summing up the foregoing dream. Had it been just before 12, it might be interpreted as time running out imminently, but what of 4 minutes to 6? To me it suggests being halfway there, and I guess that can only mean in the trek to the final goal of reaching the all is.
So, as we move along through it, yes, you're seeing what's going on, and you're going through your adventure and what have you, and they're there to help you. But again, you are the final decider of everything, and when it comes near the end of your experience there, you've got supposedly the wall, if I remember, there's a wall there, and you have time. You have the wristwatch or whatever. You're saying old Roman numerals. Well, what is that? That's old time. And then you see another time. Okay, so again, that's showing you something in creation. I'm just going to give you some hints here, all right? And you decide this, because there's many ways to go with it. So again, the personal self usually runs on old time, doesn't it? The Roman numeral stuff. You know, it's interesting on our computers. When you get your computer, especially, I don't know how Apple is, but you just use the cheaper ones, the DOS. It's just a computer. So what comes up as the first font in the computers? Usually now the computers, you used to have to buy fonts in the old days at first, but now they come with hundreds of fonts. And what is the font that is used that comes up first, say like Windows 10 or whatever? Times Roman numeral, the Roman font, and that's done purposely, okay? Because it is subliminal. If you notice that on your computer, that's what comes up first. Then you highlight it and change it to Arial or whatever other font you want. But that font comes up first, purposely. And you'll notice that if it's laws or the Constitution or whatever, it's written usually in those fonts. The governments, they use that font, that Helvetica or New Times Roman or whatever they want to call it. They use that old kind of Roman artistic font. And so, again, it's running on old time, isn't it? So it's how we view. It is all about view and recognizing that view. But that's always up to you, and you can do that every moment. So the dream experiences are one thing, and they give a hint. That's all they do, is they give a hint. They are not a reality, but you are the decider, and through that, yes, the recognition comes. So if you keep going and keep deciding to recognize it, that's a must. You must decide every little part of it, every little scene or whatever, and what you can't see, decide to unsee, and etc. And decisions are made accordingly. So this is us. We are the decider to experience whatever. So again, thank you for sharing.